by my cast. Where do Vinixius sit?
Oh, I can sit wherever you want.
Oh, we're.
Where do you want to sit?
Can we join the
Very
group?
happy to be here. Are you starting soon? Yes, same. I make sure you get a seat.
Backwards. There we go. I just completely.
Reminisces 3D lost.
I am tomorrow. But it's here. It's here.
I will get.
Hey, sit right here. Come here.
Chocolate.
Oh god.
Popcorn.
I gotta get
See the whole screen and I'm leaning back.
Oh, this is awesome.
For you. Go ahead.
Okay, let's get started. If I can have everyone quieten down. Fangs, you're welcome to bring the stream to me. Thank you so much for coming to our second screening at Raindance Immersive 2024, specifically celebrating the music videos of the selection this year. All of the videos that we're going to watch today are competing in the Best Music Video of VR category at the festival. Before we get the show started, which is an incredible show, I can't wait for you to see the videos that we've had the pleasure of curating and selecting this year. I want to give a few house rules and ways to benefit the experience of those in the instance today. Firstly, I want to thank the people in the instance for dealing with the behind-the-scenes tour backrooms experience that you had in the beginning as we were making the instance. Appreciate your support and patience with that transition. We want to make sure you have a good experience, so thank you for dealing with that. And for those watching on live stream, welcome. Thank you for watching. So a couple of things I want to mention to help give you a good experience. A really important note for today's screening is we have some videos that are going to be played with untrusted URLs. So the videos are not to be trusted, but they are amazing. So they're well worth trusting, believe me. The way to allow untrusted URLs, if you haven't in your VRChat menu, you can open your settings cog and in your hand menu, scroll down. And I believe it is under, well, I'm doing it in real time with you.
Honestly concerned about this, but we'll see how it goes.
Comfort and safety.
Thank you. It's comfort and safety. Yes. Is it comfort and safety?
In the big menu.
In the big menu. Thank you, Starheart. Sorry, it's not in your hand menu. You can allow untrusted URLs in the big menu under comfort and safety. It's a checkbox, and it will help ensure that you can see the videos that we're going to screen today. But if we do have issues with showing those particular videos, we have a backup link that we're going to come back to. So there's a potential where we might have to restart a video, so please bear with us if that's the case. Secondly, if people need to resync the video, if it's stuttering or is not playing, there is a tablet at the entrance to the cinema. So if you come down the stairs and walk just outside, you'll see a tablet next to the Raindance Immersive screen. You can take that and you can actually take it with you up to the seating area and you can hit resync. It might help resolve some stuttering problems. Please bear that in mind, and if anyone wants to go get it now's probably a good time. Secondly, or thirdly, I'd like for everyone, if you want to hide nameplates, I would recommend doing that. It will help clear any view obstructions that you might have from people's interesting VRChat usernames. And I also want to recommend, if anyone is talking or people perhaps underneath you in the lobby area are talking, you can also use earmuff mode as well to help reduce any sound that might be disrupting your experience. Lastly, if anyone has any technical problems or issues, we also have Troppy in the instance with us. And you can also come to me if I'm not up here on stage. So thank you, Troppy. And Joe Lee as well, is also on our Raindance team. So please come find us if you need help. Or there's a support channel in the Discord as well if you have any issues. Now, without further ado, I'm really excited to kick off the show. We're going to be starting with a really hopeful, joyful video called Carpe Diem by Airi Rowatari. I would actually like to invite Airi for a quick introduction to the video, if you would be so kind. So to kick off our show today, I would love to welcome Airi for a very quick introduction to the video. If you're happy to. I'm putting you on the spot, but I would love for you to do an intro. Welcome, Airi, the director of Carpe Diem.
Oh, wait. Hi, everybody. My name is Airi Rowatari. I'm a VTuber. And Carpe Diem is sort of a little bit of background to how I became to be who I am. For those of you who don't know, I am the owner of a postal company, an independent postal company called Ale Postal Company. So you'll see that throughout the video. So I hope you enjoy. That good?
That was wonderful. Thank you so much, Airi. We can't wait to play the video. Yeah, let's go off stage and get it cued. I should also say just a quick thank you to Fangs, Max, who are on camera, Maria, Troppy, and Joe, my fellow curators, and Fangs as well. Thank you for making this event possible. I am so thrilled and excited to present Carpe Diem.
Yay!
Yeah, let's go.
Let's go!
Actually, just watch it first. You can check after.
It's very immersive.
Doki doki suru.
Oh, you're so small. Can just be avatar and then range sizes.
Bravo for Carpe Diem. I'm so excited to now welcome to the stage Ari, the director of the video, for a Q&A. And any teammates, please join us.
Yeah.
Oh, nervous.
Very nervous.
Where should I go?
You can sit beside me.
That's great. And Dora the frog on the floor there. I love it. Ari, thank you so much for sharing your work at the festival and for bringing your team and yourself to participate in the Q&A. I am so excited, and I'm sure our audience is really keen to hear the story behind the video. It looked like you had so much fun making this. I mean, you feel it in the post credits as well. I really love that you added those details. And I'm really keen to hear about the joy that you had on set specifically, because there's such a common theme in the video. But before we get into the themes, it would be really good to introduce the people that you have with you and also your own responsibility on the video. If you could each introduce yourselves and the roles that you had on the project.
Yeah, so I was I was directing and acting and singing and made the lyrics of the song. But what really brought it to life is all of the wonderful rest of the people. If you guys want to introduce yourselves.
Go ahead. Me?
Oh my
Okay.
gosh.
Yeah, you.
Yeah, let's just go down the line.
Okay, I'm Hayate. Please call me Haya. I was actress, right? Yay! Thank you.
Yay!
Woo!
All right. My name
Go
is
ahead.
Seeds. I was plants in the film there. And yeah, I was also an actor in the film. I somehow managed to sneak my way in, and now I'm a part of this. So I'm glad to be here.
Hello, I'm Dora, and I was the cameraman for this music video, and I also assisted in the choreography for a lot of the shots.
Woo!
Woo!
Thank you.
Woo!
Thank you all for coming again. Now, I'd like to start perhaps with you, Ari, with talking about the story. I love the hope that's in the story and the heartfelt lyrics, and I'm really curious to ask how the story emerged for you. It feels really sincere in its themes around growth and change, and I'm curious what inspired you to chase those themes in the video. Where did the seed of the idea come?
A lot of it reflects my own personal story. I wasn't always a very good person. In fact, I guess you could say I was a pretty terrible person before. And, you know, a lot of times I think people want to sort of bury that past. But at some point, I realized that it was also what made me who I am today. And, you know, a lot of this self-love came from originally self-loathing, and I wanted to kind of make something that sort of was a love song to myself in the past, but also like maybe like a way to maybe help people who might be struggling a little bit with their own sort of self-hatred and like finding a way to come to terms with it. So that's sort of where a lot of this came from, was kind of reflecting on my own self in the past. So yeah.
Oh, I kind of applaud you for making something so personal. I feel like that deserves an applause from me. Like, as a fellow creative person, it's hard to put yourself in your work so much. So yeah, applause for putting your own emotions into this. And to talk about that a little bit more in terms of the writing, I think you do an amazing job at creating different timelines in the video. You know, we see Ari's story at different stages throughout the video, but it all feels cohesive. And I'm curious how you differentiated the different stages of the story in the script, like with the locations and the color grading. How did you break down the story and its timeline when you were initially building the song and the video?
Yeah, so early on, in this sort of storyboarding stage, one of the things that I defined it was that there are sort of three states: the sort of the past, and then the point of change, and then the present. So those are like the 3 points. And sort of one of the themes in filming was the whole idea of juxtaposition. So kind of being able to compare some of these shots throughout each, I guess you could call them eras of my life. And using that as a basis to kind of model some of the shots in the future, so it kind of comes together. And the color grading was just trying to make sure that the past felt like the past, even though like the future feels a little bit more fantastical as opposed to like the more realistic griminess of some of the worlds used in the past shots. I don't know if that makes sense.
Makes sense.
Absolutely. Yeah, it makes sense. And I mean, you see it in the video. It's really compelling and kind of brings it together in a cohesive way. And speaking more about bringing cohesion into this video, the production design is just stunning. There's clearly a lot of effort that's been put into creating the postal uniforms, the paper drawings that we see in the scrapbook, and the Isles postal office world as well itself. So I'd love to hear your journey in creating the art materials for the video. Was there a lot of collaboration that was involved in that process?
Yeah, so there was actually a pretty insane amount of collaboration from world creators to 3D modelers. Some of it was a little bit more subtle than others. So Genome Avenue was one of the worlds that we used in the music video, and I had reached out to Joe, who very graciously offered to put the poster that shows up in the world in his world, and that was sort of one of the ways we were trying to like mix the worlds between VRChat and the production of the video. So there was actually a live poster in there that had a QR code to like a survey where people could apply to be an extra for in return they would get like the uniforms and sort of be like an honorary member of that secondary postal company that appears. Yeah, so there's a little bit of that, and then the art, you know, the 2D image and the logos and the outfits, those were all made by people that I have had the pleasure of sort of meeting serendipitously throughout my journey and activities as Airi. Yeah, so lots of I owe a lot to a lot of people in order to make this this video, including the 3 people here and those who couldn't make it today. So I want to extend a big thank you, and you know, I love you all. Thank you so much for coming along with me on this journey. Yeah.
No, that's wonderful, and it's, I think, a common trait as well in the VR community and VRChat filmmakers as well, really leaning on each other and getting together creatively. So thank you for sharing the sentiment. Now, I'd love to bring the actors in and I'd like to ask a question to you. Generally speaking, I'd love to hear about what you enjoyed about performing in the video. Was there a moment that inspired you to get involved in the first place, and what memories do you have in shooting it?
Oh, sure. I guess I'll start it off. Yeah, so getting involved, I mean, originally I really didn't know too much about what was actually happening. I just knew that I wanted to help out in some way. I'm just like, hey, I'll walk in the background, I'll be a tree. I'll be a tree. But eventually I got in, and I really didn't know I honestly had no idea what I was getting into. I didn't know how much I would be doing or any of that, but eventually I ended up in a actually pretty decent, decent. I'm here right now. So it went in a very different direction than I thought. But as I got into the video and I started seeing the edits put together, I was just like, okay, no, this isn't just like a little just like hobby thing. Like this is the real deal. And so I think, I mean, right from the beginning, I came and I wanted to bring my A game just to help out. You know, you don't want to be the weak link or anything. But like as we continued, it became way more personal, and I was just like, okay, now I really, really want to do more to make this right. And so, yeah, I mean, that was more so like my involvement. I hope that I did a good job as one of the side and back characters. Yeah, it was really fun. And I think on set, we all had a lot of like our chemistry. It grew as the filming continued. Like all the bloopers and stuff. We didn't just go, all right, let's make a blooper reel now. Like, no, we were having so much fun. The entire time. A lot of those shots we didn't even know that Dora was actually filming it. We were just messing around. So
Yeah, that's right, that's
it
right.
was real.
Just hit record whenever I could.
Haya, would you like to add yourself?
Me, memory. Airi say, Airi told me, Haya, just do Haya. In the film. So
Yeah, just do higher things and you'll be okay.
That many times.
yeah.
He's really good at it
I
too.
had a lot of fun there. Yeah.
Good.
That's all.
Well, Haya, I feel like you must have brought so much joy to the set, so I'm not surprised to hear that.
1000%.
I want to share that one moment that I hope our audience noticed. That is perhaps my favorite part about your performances. Is when the postal friends, as Airi is kind of letting go of the previous postal office and giving their hat, you see you see all of you peeking through the door behind, and the way you've captured that in the frame is so perfect and flawless in the timing of the edit. That's one moment that just always gets me whenever I see the video. And to talk more about camera, I really love that. The cinematography, it feels very intimate and quite cropped, and I think the aspect ratio really helps that. But one image that is really striking to me whenever I see the video is the split shot, where we see Airi at different stages, and you get to see the different timelines in one frame. And I'm curious if that was a visual that was with you right from the beginning when you were conceptualizing the video, or if that came later as something you really wanted to add in. How did that image come into being?
So that was one of the shots that was laid out pretty early on in the storyboard. I think it might be the only shot that's quite literal to the lyrics about, moving forward, but you still kind of look backwards when you're struggling to find a way forward. And it's something that I think I will continue to struggle with as I move forward in my sort of creative journey. And there wasn't really a good way to showcase that with the story, because it's an ongoing thing, and it became like that became the inspiration for coming up with a somewhat abstract shot. I think it might be the only abstract shot in the entirety of the video, but again, I'm not perfect, and I won't be, but at the same time, I want to be able to continue moving forward. And that was one of those shots where I wanted to kind of remind myself, ground it. And that's sort of how it ended up. And Dora did a fantastic job of capturing sort of that scene. It was probably one of the hardest scenes. It was the last one we took, actually, because we kept pushing it off. But it came out really nice, and I couldn't be any prouder of what came out of it.
Well, I'd love to extend that question, and if you're comfortable to share, how did you achieve that shot? Because I'm curious, was it visual effects? But the shot that it follows the main two shot is you see them both in this frame as well. So I don't know if it's VFX. So I'd love to actually hear how you achieved that shot.
So it's we took that shot twice, where we kept the camera in the same angle, and I would change, and we sort of put it together in post. But we hit a problem where some of the real-time lighting would alter the way the lights look in the background. So we actually had to edit the color grading frame by frame afterwards to fit it together. It was rough, but the way it came out was really, really nice. It was worth every effort. But same goes for the shot after it. We took it twice with the same frame. Yeah. Yeah. I don't want to do that ever again.
Well, I think that it was worth it. I love it when a video, elevates its truth a little bit and presents something more abstract that's more up for interpretation and elevates it into a different realm that is outside of the kind of main context of the story. So it was worth it. Worth the pain.
It was.
I'd also like to give Adora the opportunity to share a little bit more, potentially about the direction with camera, and Airi, you can also share. If you had a very distinct style you were intending to reach, in terms of the kind of intimacy or the warmth or the stillness of the frame as well.
I think initially, since when she told me it was a personal project before anything else, I immediately knew like the direction I kind of wanted to portray, because I'm actually a huge fan of music videos that tell a story, especially if it makes you feel something, right? We all have our sad songs and sad videos that we always go back to, whether it be TikTok reels, IG reels, all that stuff. We all have those reels that are 5 to 10 seconds long that really portray and tell a story in that amount of time. So with each shot that we went with, I wanted to really have like everyone's eyes on it. That's why I intentionally manually adjusted the focus as the shot was rolling. You can see a lot of in focus, out focus shots that really pull your eyes to a certain subject into the shot. So I really wanted to just have that soft, intimate, just pleasant on the eyes. And with the way worlds are created in VRChat, we all have like there's always a variance of appearances. So we had to make sure that it wasn't too straining on the eyes. It was calm, it was soft, and then it just, for me personally, every time I watch the video, I can't take my eyes off of it. So I kind of wanted to portray that feeling as well with each recording, and I really wanted to keep it very like, just personal in a sense. Just make it feel good, make it tell the story that people could relate to, and I feel like I portrayed that to the best of my ability with this music video.
Would you like to add anything to that, Airi, just in terms of direction, and if the preparation leading to it as well? Was there a lot of storyboarding involved in achieving the specific compositions?
Yeah, so the entire music video was storyboarded actually at the get-go, but we also changed a lot of it as we sort of went. So it wasn't like we sort of had like a one and done. And the ones we changed because of the acting. And what everybody brought was so much more like the characters. We gave everybody sort of like a bullet point list of like this is kind of what you're supposed to be. But then as they started to kind of like blow life into it, we were like, oh, wait, maybe we could give you something that's like each person has their own sort of, I guess not quirk, but like they're a piece of the story that they give to me as the song goes through. So we started to rewrite some of it as we went, and some happy coincidences with the world supporting things like the like scribble of the logo that originally wasn't a part of the storyboarding, but we found it in the world and we were like, I think we can just use this to kind of bring everything back and bring it full circle. So we started to add the scene in the library and then the scene in at the end where I'm holding the paper to the banner to compare, like, this is how far,
really
like, without
things
that,
together.
It wouldn't have been the same. So lots of really serendipitous sort of things. And, you know, again, like, with any one less person on this project, it wouldn't have been the same.
I'd just like to add to that, too. I'd like to add to that too. This I was gonna mention it before, but I think it was one of the main things that got me so hyped about the project. Well, two of the things, which is one, us allowing us to have our own personalities and add that own personal energy, because I feel like it enabled us to do the best jobs that we could, right? Like each member got to really be themselves through their character. Of course, we were still acting as the character, but we got to really express ourselves through it. And then like even with Dora, who was really picking and choosing and getting the right shots, and like, you know, we're totally down to redo a shot however many times. But the other side of that was the happy accidents, and I've been just going off about those since they happened, because every few shots we would get some random one shot just like that wasn't supposed to happen, but it worked, and I feel like that really is just like a testament almost to the entire like story in general. You know, it's like sometimes things aren't planned out, right? Like sometimes they're just not as rigid or as tight as you might want them to be. But sometimes it doesn't really matter. It's just that one shot, that one thing that you go for. You made a mistake, you tripped, and you fell into the perfect life, right? Or like the perfect event. And I feel like that happened behind the scenes on the film as well. That just added and gave extra life to a lot of the shots that we had in there. So I'm really proud, and I feel really humbled that I'm allowed to be a part of this and a part of this team. So I'm really thankful that you guys included me in this. So thank you.
Awesome. Yeah, I agree. Thank you so much for coming. And I want to leave off with that on that note. Although I definitely focused more on the camera work, I definitely felt it was best that they, like you said, acted as themselves, because I'm a strong believer in if someone chooses to be themselves, they offer the world nobody else can be. So outside of like just outside of positioning, I literally told them just act natural, and that brought it to life so much, because you can see the personalities in each character, and it was defined on their own, so to speak. So I think it really brought it to life that we were able to have such chemistry in such a short time. So I really appreciate this team coming together and literally bringing their A game, because I didn't know what to expect either. But I'm very happy it worked out naturally. It felt everything every filming day. It felt so natural. It did not feel forced at all.
I feel like that's such a compliment to you, Airi, as well as the director and leading it. You know, that takes patience, and it's a skill to foster that sort of environment with your collaborators, really allowing them to raise their voices and to lean on them. So that's a compliment to your skills. Yeah, thank you for sharing. Now, I'd love to open for audience questions. If anyone has any questions about Carpe Diem, and we would love to take them. You're welcome to join us on stage for the questions. Otherwise, I can continue talking. Chocolate Willy has a question.
Wait. All right. So my question, since this is, I assume, a very international team. So like, with different like time zones and obligations, how did scheduling play a part in your piece? Like, were there any like creative choices or like maybe sacrifices that needed to be made to ensure the piece was like completed?
I will repeat the question just for those in the back, because I'm not sure if Chocolate Willy's on the mic. Very quickly, the question is, imagine it's a very international team. How did the team manage time zones, and did you have to sacrifice anything in order to make it happen?
Yeah, so it was really, really, really difficult. But what we ended up doing that I think helped us out the most was, again, fully storyboarding and kind of picking which shots to tackle. We were really methodical about it. So initially we had a spreadsheet with every single shot and timetable sort of listed that we would sort of knock out the basic shots for. And once scheduling started to get a little bit more difficult to get everybody's time, because everybody has, again, different time zones, different, working environments and timetables, we had to be very careful with what days we chose. And I wanted to make sure that we weren't like having people stay for like 7-8 hours just to film. So Dora and I would sort of figure out the exact shots we would tackle for the day, and if we were lucky, the ones we would do, and then if we weren't lucky, figure out sort of the contingency. So like, again, it was kind of surgical in a way, how we tackled it. But on the other side, I think it really paid off that we were able to finish the video in time. And if we had a little bit more time, maybe it would have been a little bit easier for everybody. But again, everybody pulled through. Thank you again.
Yeah, I think although the schedule was very selective, I think each day that we scheduled it was like so productive. It was such a positive like day to film for sure. And definitely lots of alarms, lots of snoozing and waking up in time. on my end, I have a terrible sleep schedule. At the time, I was definitely not sleeping properly. But every day they made it count. They brought their A game. It wouldn't have been possible, as I said before, for sure.
Some days I didn't even want to finish. Yeah, I'm sorry. I was gonna say some days I didn't even want to finish. Stop, do the recording because it was just fun. We're in there for so long, and I'm just like, let's keep going. And then it's just like, wait, my batteries are dying. So it's just like, all right, never mind. So, but yeah,
yes,
that wasn't common though. That wasn't common. That's my own fault. But no, it's very organized.
That is a challenge when it comes to VR filmmaking.
Curse battery life.
Is there any further questions from the audience? Or comments? That's okay.
I'd like to make a comment real quick.
Okay.
I just wanted to give a shout out to a hat kid that's in the audience right now.
Please come here.
Had to join a bit late, but he's one of the members of the team. Was there before me, and was honestly, I'm pretty sure is like one of the major reasons that like I was able to get as comfortable as I was and perform the way that I was able to perform is because like just the energy that we had like immediately it was so good. So I was really happy to get to perform with Hat Kid. So I'm glad you're finally on the stage.
I appreciate that. That's okay. We're happy to have you. I have time for one more question, but I also want to include you, Hat Kid. Do you want to share what your experience was like performing in this, and maybe a joyful memory?
This much less felt like a recording session for a music video, and more so felt like just hanging out with a group of friends, all trying to have a good time together. That was unironically I don't know if it's already been said before already, but that was my favorite part, hands down, from this. A lot of the parts of just us kind of goofing around, having fun at the end of the day, became almost pivotal parts of the music video in the end, which really make us feel like as the supporting cast, essentially, that we were really, really part of this project together. And I tear up a little bit thinking about it. I took time off work today just so I could be home just on time enough to make it here for this. Like, I'd do anything for this group, for sure.
Oh, that's wonderful. Yeah, that's again compliments to fostering a really solid collaboration and creative team. It makes me so happy to see that. Now, I would like to end on just one more question, and it goes back to what we originally spoke about putting yourself in your art and bringing your own story into something. And for filmmakers or artists that are doing the same thing, what advice would you give in like facing challenges and doing that and keeping the momentum going with the project?
That's a hard one. I think in some ways it's about, I think a lot of people have echoed the idea of finding people in this space to kind of help support you along the journey, but it's also about being vulnerable a little bit. I definitely shared a lot of vulnerable moments with everybody here where, it was either I was stressed about being able to make this come true, or some complication, or the time, there's a lot of little things that happen that really kind of like hit me. And throughout the entire process, like I would talk to any one of these people and they would, have my back, be like, whether it's encouragement or offering to help in different ways. Like, if I hadn't opened up, I might have collapsed under the own pressure I put myself under. So, again, like finding people is important, but also being able to, talk to them about what you're going through sometimes might help with kind of sharing the burden. Right? Like to them, I'm sure none of them felt it as a burden, even though sometimes I might have felt like I was burdening them with it. So
not in the slightest.
Yeah. So yeah, that might be a weird answer, but
Really inspiring words to end on. Thank you so much for joining us for the Q&A. Another round of applause of thanks for the Carpe Diem team.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you
so much. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you. Thank you so much.
A lot of inspiring words there. Now, if I may ask you to exit the stage, as we'll be starting our next show.
Whee!
Good
I'm so sorry I'm late. My boss drove me home. He said, "You're not missing this event." My car broke down at work and he said, "I'm driving you home. You're not missing this."
Thank you so much, Carpe Diem team. There were so many inspiring words there. That was an amazing conversation to start with. Amazing that we have even more to continue talking about. I'm so excited. I always say that. I'm excited for everything. But really excited for the next video as its premiere. A video that has not been released yet. It is a video by a talented artist called Starheart, who is with us here today, and we're going to be engaging in a Q&A after the screening, so please continue to stay with us. And the video is called I Still Love You, and it is a black and white, really stylish, dramatic film. I hope you enjoy it.
I want to see this for so long.
The trailer was amazing, right?
Yeah. It looks so good.
Hopefully it works. We can plug in the YouTube if it doesn't work.
I might shoot.
Watch it 3 more times if it doesn't work.
Did you love me when you left into the night? My thoughts are crashing my head. I'm thinking about you instead. I wish you were here with me now. All the places to go. We could walk through the snow. I still love you. You made me feel alright. Did you love me when you left into the night? They say that it's sunny outside, but I know that they're wrong. It started to rain on me. The storm started fading away when the two of us met. I'll never forget that. I still love you. You made me feel alright. Did you love me when you left into the night? I've been going along for a while, like a rambling song. I've been dreaming of one day you'll find me an old man. I'm getting pretty jaded. I thought that we'd make it, oh, but I'm still holding on to you. My thoughts are floating away. I just need to lie down, forget as I lay. One day I may see you again, and if it comes to pass, I'll tell you at last that I still love you. You made me feel alright. Did you love me when you left into the night?
Oh, you're straight up here, Starheart. So happy to welcome to the stage Starheart, the creator of the video. Round of applause once again for I Still Love You. Woo!
Yay! Thank you, everybody.
Take a seat, Starheart. I'm so excited to unpack this with you.
Oh, yes, yes. Let me take a seat here. My app is so small. Here, I'm gonna grow a little bit so my.
Firstly, thank you for premiering the work at the festival with us.
Yeah,
we're so privileged to be sharing your work, and it's been so worth the wait. It is such a stylish, stunning video. Can't wait to get into my questions. Now, the video has a really classic filmic look, I feel. It immediately kind of brought me back to earlier film, early cinema, especially with the 4:3 ratio and the dramatic black and white lighting as well. So it felt really intentional, but it also felt like the song that you've written just felt perfect for that cinematic quality. It felt hand in hand. So I'd like to start our conversation with asking what came first for you. Was it the idea of making this black and white jazzy film or music video, or was it the song itself, or was it hand in hand?
The song came first. So the song I wrote several years ago, actually, and so this is like I've been trying to figure out how to arrange it, and I think I've had like 5 or 6 completed versions of the song that I've never released. I'm like, I love this, like the message of the song, but I can't figure out like how to convey. Like I couldn't figure out the right context to release it in, and yeah, so a lot of it was me just trying to figure out what this song even meant. But yeah, so the song came first, and that was, the going through different iterations, and then finally I settled on this version, which I re-recorded the vocals like a month ago, or like maybe 2 weeks ago, because I was trying to get it better and better and better every single time. So yeah, the song came first, and then so I came up with the video idea because I was really fascinated by the concept of writing directing a film in film noir, and so I was playing around with what does that actually mean? Because I love old mysteries, I love film texture, and I love high contrast. So this film came out of like two kind of motives, 2 goals. One was the technical goals of wanting to do less of everything, less dynamic range, like super high contrast, right? Less widescreen, do 4:3, do less color,
right.
less shallow depth of field. Like I wanted to see the background clear as day. And so all of these things sort of started checking the boxes. Less camera movement as well, where it's like almost every single shot, there's like 2 dollies. But I wanted it to feel as grounded as possible and just focus, so I have the ability to actually focus on composing every single shot as best as possible. And then also I was really excited about trying to do more facial expressions and trying to get the emotion that I put into the song and the singing into the acting of the song, of this like yeah. So, and then of course I love the texture of 16mm. I love trying to get that whole vibe going. So yeah, it came out of a lot of different goals.
Yeah. But thank you so much for sharing, and it also sounds kind of experimental in your thinking as well.
Yeah.
You wanted to just kind of throw things at the wall and experiment with different ideas and practices and things that you love as well. It sounds like a nice matrimony of doing what you love and also pushing yourself. So
Yeah.
I really appreciate that. I don't know if you want to shout out. We have the actor with us today.
Yes.
Who played alongside you.
Vinixia plays Clara, my girlfriend, who turns out to be the jewel thief. If you want to come join on the couch, you're welcome.
Please come join us. Let's welcome Vinixia to the stage. Woo! Thank you, Vinixia.
Yeah, I'm too big now. I can shrink to be.
I can get bigger.
Oh, here we go. This works.
Okay. Yeah, when you talk about facial expressions, the image that comes up for me is the close-up on Vinixia with the angry eyebrows.
Yeah.
That is
Oh,
just
you want to
such a
demonstrate the
striking
angry?
image? Was that?
Yeah, I could set it up.
Was that an expression, I assume, that you'd worked on together and built for the avatar?
Yep. So I did a custom blend shape for that specific thing, and then I signed the expression to squeezing your fist so we could puppeteer that, like I do with my eyes or my eyebrows, so I can get a lot of subtlety in there. And then I also have like a four-way puppet, so I could do like the shocked, wah, or the happy, or the sad, when she's like realizing that Clara decided as a last gesture to leave this gem here at this old memory of theirs, where Clara and Starheart really fell in love there on the beach. And so so we did Vinixia was amazing because the gem, like the leaving over the balcony scene or shots, took so much coordination because it was grabbing the note, grabbing the gem, being ready with play space move, toggling the wink, and then climbing down. So huge props to Vinixia for being able to do that. Yeah. And then another challenge was being in front of the camera at the same time as shooting, since I didn't have anyone play myself. Yeah.
Let's get into it. I'd love for you to talk about that. What's that a challenge, especially in the bigger scenes where you have extras as well? How did you direct and star? I'd love to hear that.
Well, part of what made it even possible was doing these tripod shots, so that I didn't have to worry about moving the camera. And then having really deep depth of field made sure that I didn't lose focus on the subjects, because that would have made it absolutely impossible. So those are the technical things that made it possible, but also monitors in VR can be invisible. So I always had my little excess overlay monitor with OBS with my little 4x3 crop so I could frame it, make sure everyone was in the correct way, and then we would rehearse it to make sure everyone hit their marks and keeps in the right light and whatever, and then so I enlarged my monitor to be like 30 feet or 10 to 30 feet, depending on the shot. So I didn't have to like stare at this little monitor to check details, right? It was just like right in front of me. So then all of it was just then focusing on, okay, hitting the mark, hitting the right expression at the right time, looking, and then so I think the most challenging scenes weren't those like one shots, but were more the interactions between Vinixia and I.
That makes sense. Yeah, and that it sounds like a really challenging task when you're new to VR filmmaking and you don't have the intuition to open overlays and throw them up. But once you've spent a lot of time in VR, especially in VRChat, this platform, you can find ways to get comfortable on set and use overlays and things. It feels second nature a little bit, or
it does.
To me now, certainly probably to you after this production. But it takes some learning, that's for sure. So it certainly is a talent, and I only have respect for it. I'd love to talk a little bit about the style, the black and white style. You talked about doing less and having a little bit less movement and being quite perpendicular, I guess, in the movements. And I was curious, a name that came up for me in terms of potential influences was Wes Anderson. There's moments that feel really composed. And I was curious if Anderson was a reference for you, or potentially what are the references?
So I love Anderson, but I think my influences come more from animation than film. In terms of the theatrical, and I mean like more stop motion, where you have point light sources, you have very, very precise, crafted, like, this is not naturalistic. None of it was supposed to feel like you just happened to stumble into this place. Like, it feels like I directed it almost like a stop motion animation, if that makes sense. In that theatrical sort of way of like everything, every single movement, including like where I look, and like the surface that I walked on changed. So I have sound blankets for like carpet or for like the medium hard sand, but then I have my cushion, like my mattress top where I could walk on for the one's deeper sand shot, where my feet sort of sink into the sand as I walk through. So trying to be really detail oriented about that type of thing.
Oh, wow. Well, yeah, thank you for sharing, but that detail is really interesting. Correct me if I'm wrong, but you're talking about you've got materials in where you're filming, and you're actually placing yourself on them, so your avatar is, the motion capture of the avatar is really consistent with the world. Is that right?
Trying to, yes, yeah.
Nice. I see. I say that because for us, maybe that makes sense, but for those watching who've never watched a VR production, it's like, wait, what's going on there? How is that happening? So I want to break it down. So interested. And speaking about set design, I know that the museum world was something that you crafted yourself, and I'd love to hear your journey lighting that space, how you approach lighting, because there's some great dramatic lighting in the video, especially where Clara opens the door after she's stolen the diamond or the heart. I love that moment. How did you approach creating the space and lighting it to create the video?
So I got super into the architecture of like a turn of the century colonial, basically the history of this location. Starheart's grandfather, in the lore, was a professor of archaeology, and his name is Professor Tilius, and he went missing. Like years before, but this was his museum that got bought by like a conglomerate or whatever, and so so Starheart's the granddaughter of this museum owner, which is one of the reasons that Clara and in her jewel thiefness may have originally contacted Starheart to get closer to the gem. While the museum wasn't open during the day, like there's going to be guards during the day. So so I found the model of there's this great service called Kitbash that they have a massive library of really, really cool, like very high quality 3D models. So I was basically, I'm not an experienced 3D modeler. Like my 3D modeling comes from just like customizing avatars, and honestly, that's like, these are booth outfits that that I've mixed and matched and stuff. So this was a huge learning curve to be to learn. Okay, I have all these surfaces. I have this museum. First, I needed to like draw out the architecture, like the layout of what does this look like, and then finding the right pieces, assembling, putting together, mixing and matching the different materials, and then so the exterior right now is a separate world from the interior, but I'm going to publish the world on my on VRChat for people to go in as like one singular filming world with some so like the custom, like completely custom assets though were the wine bottle labels. I did graphic design for that. The museum banners, the gems were all hand modeled. That's pretty easy though. But yeah, it's figuring out the right sort of lighting, and then or the right shaders so that it responds well to the light. And whether that's like the moonlight, because I had all these images pictured once I wrote out the script back in February. I'm like, or January. I was like, I really, really want to get that iconic, New York hatched or the square windows.
Yeah, right.
In those classic old museums. And that was also taken inspiration from Wallace and Gromit, The Wrong Trousers, with the jewel scene there, with the dramatic moonlight and that type of thing. But yeah, so
brilliant.
Yeah, I had that image. I'm like, I want to see the moon to like foreshadow the moon at the end there through in the first shot. So you see like moonlight coming in, which also will add those nice shadows, which is super film noir, but instead of like blinds in a detective's office, it's the skylights through a museum window. So yeah, that's sorry, I keep rambling. I know
sense.
I don't know if I'm answering your questions.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I was really interested in, and you're here to ramble.
Lighting.
We're listening. Yeah, but it's good to know that, you had really specific images in your mind, but as you approach lighting the space, that image of the light coming through the checkered windows was, that was an image of like a place of inspiration. And you managed to achieve it, which is I think really inspiring just creatively for most people listening. You didn't know the skills and you just jumped in and learned them and found a way to do it.
I was asking friends who have experienced world building. I'm like, okay, my light maps are completely messed up. How do I fix this? Like, and then shout out to SWA Music for sending me UV Packer and what's the other blender tool? It's their shoot. There's two UV tools that he recommended, and UV Zen, something like that. Those are lifesavers for creating the light map UVs and optimizing some of these materials. So it wasn't like 300 materials you load into the world, which would make filming or reloading very, 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 very slow. Also, I wanted people to come, like, I love in real life going to visit filming locations, so I wanted, like, VR is the perfect way to visit filming locations. So I was so excited to be able to, like, publish it and let people visit the world of the Tilius Museum. Yeah.
Yes, that's so exciting. And just to hold on that thought, if people want to find out when that world is public, are you going to be posting it on your Twitter / X?
Yep, Twitter.
How could people follow you and also find out when the world is ready to explore?
I'm pretty active on Twitter. I have a VRChat group as well, which I'll be posting some updates for that. As well as a Discord group, finally, so I'll have like little events. I'm gonna do a guided tour next week once it's published.
Great.
And I'm super excited.
Oh, that's so exciting. It also feels so relevant to do a guided tour in a museum. Like it's like a guided tour of the museum, but also it's it's a film set, which is great. So thank you for sharing. I'd love to take the opportunity to bring any audience questions. Please come join us if you have a question. And also don't be shy, please come all the way up to the stage so we can hear you. Perhaps we start with Tef?
Hey. Good. Hi, Star. Great fucking job, by the way. Pardon my language. But I have one question. The story question is the very last chorus that I still love you. For the whole song, I'm like, Star is the one singing this. This is just from Star's perspective. And then the very last chorus, I went from just watching this change in tone. Wait, who's the one really singing this? Is it both of them? Or what? It's kind of hard to tell. Was that intentional, or did you not think of that?
I did not think of that, but that's actually such a cool take, because it is supposed to be answering the question of, does Clara still love me? And
was it real, or is they just taking advantage of you, or it's hard to say.
Right, exactly. Yeah. Interesting. Wow. I did not think of that, but that's a super cool take on it. I like that a lot. Yeah.
That's it. That's all I have.
Good interpretation. No, thank you for sharing.
Good work.
Seeds?
Hello.
Hey.
Okay.
Hello.
So, yeah. Well, first off, amazing video. I was waiting for this. I'm really excited we finally got to watch it. But yeah, so I just wanted to know about the lighting. So you were obviously talking about contrast and stuff like that, but I just want to know like what your design language was with the lighting. Like, obviously the lighting was very specific in different moments. Were you using it to try to like pull us through the story? Like, were you using like more like over, well, I'm gonna say saturated, but like brighter shots or certain things, the more dark shots, and like working with contrast in specific ways?
Absolutely.
And was that storyboarded?
I didn't storyboard it directly. It's all in my head. So it's basically the dark, dreary shots are posts, with the train scenes and Starheart taking this note that says sandcastle and that mystery. Those are pretty dark and low-key, versus the interior of the museum is a lot more high-key, a lot more lighter colors, less contrast. But then we get that really, really dramatic moment on the rooftop where she's backlit. And that was a really key moment to transition from the darkness, or from the lights. And of course, like the actual, the gem room is a massive contrast from that. Starheart looking at this wedding little flower, what are they called? Trestle, in that part. That's really evenly lit versus the literally just like 3 pools of light onto each gem, which honestly was trying to be evocative of some of these, like a real life museum. And the way that they show off the glistening and shine of a gem, but like taken to the extreme. Because in a real museum, you need to worry about people tripping and stuff. So you have underlighting and, but in this case, the more dramatic, the better. Where I can paint exactly what I want people to look at. And then the door opening, I did animate. I created custom animation so Vinixia could click the door as she's like walking through it. So it swings open, revealing like the light on the back door. So it's like this, it's this. It's not just the movement of her. It's the movement of this dark to light and like So. I wanted it. The higher contrast is the more drama.
Awesome. Well, thank you. Thanks for explaining all that. That's awesome.
Thanks for the question.
Yeah, thank you, Seeds. Love that moment. So dramatic and just it's fantastic. Fast off.
Hello.
Hello.
So, as you may know, I do enjoy exploring worlds in VRChat quite a lot, and ever since you mentioned you were making your own world for this music video, my first thought was, when do we get to visit? So you already answered that. So I have 2 questions related to that world and the others. Did you... Actually, I can't remember what I was going to say. For the other world, did you go scouting for locations, or did you find this world when you were hopping yourself? Okay, so you actually went scouting for locations that you use in the video. Okay.
I did.
The black and white of the world, is it like on your avatars? Is it part of the avatars? Is it part of the post-processing of the world, or is it like post-processing in post?
No, I didn't talk about that. So actually, it's you can see we're in color, and what I wanted, I shot the whole thing in color because I wanted to be able to have the flexibility in post to further adjust contrast based on hue. So if I wanted to bring out, like if we were losing Starheart against the background in a world that I wasn't able to actually control the lighting with some of the locations that I scouted, I wanted that color flexibility to, okay, let me let me isolate this part and with very, very little risk of color banding, but or of like artifacting. That's the word I wanted. But it's actually a technique in real life film too, where you could put a red filter on the front of a black and white camera, and it starts filtering out the real colors completely differently, changes the contrast of the sky. So when I've done film photography, in like black and white film photography in real life, that's been something to carry over into the digital world.
Okay, cool. So when we actually get to visit the world, will we have like
It'll be in color.
black and white shaders? It will be in color. The world itself will be in color, or is the world actually black and white as well?
No, the world's in color. It's all color.
Okay. Cool,
Yeah.
cool. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Amazing work as always.
Thank you.
Great question. Yeah, of course, in VR you have like so much freedom to just make your art assets black and white. You make your avatars black and white, make your worlds black and white for a black and white film. So actually, that's a really interesting question. Thank you, Faustov.
I did play with I did try a black and white shader in the world, and it looked really cool. But it's also really uncomfortable to be in a black and white world in VR. I found it quite suffocating.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Well, it's not pleasant. Yeah. You don't want to suffocate your actors and the people who are on set.
No.
We've got time for one more question, if anyone has one more. Otherwise, I can ask one more. Similar to a question that we ended on the last one, but I'm so impressed that you are making the music, completely original. You're also acting in the film. You're directing your actors, and you made a world which was a completely new step in your creative journey. Is there advice that you would give to filmmakers who want to reach that level and are working independently, in terms of the freedom to create worlds and the ability to do it, how accessible that is for filmmakers specifically?
I think it's incredibly accessible. First of all, you don't have to optimize it in like, unless you're struggling with frames during like actually shooting it. It's incredibly quick to just load in some 3D models. You can buy or download for free, load them in, put a couple Unity lights, try it out, upload it, see how it looks on camera. It's such a cool way to iterate and like turn something in your head into something real. And does it have to be a full world? No. If you only have to make what you're actually shooting. So iterating and actually prototyping the sets is really quick. I found, like, once I got past some of these technical struggles of like, why do my lights look like crap? Like, how do you bake lights correctly? Like, experience in Unity making avatars help translate that, and YouTube has like 1 billion tutorials. There's so many cool people in our community that like teach other people how to do this. It's so accessible. Like, I really, really, really didn't I was worried that this wouldn't make this possible, but yeah, I was really excited to try, and it worked out. So yeah, don't do something just because you can't do it right now. Just do it. It might be terrible, but then do it again, and then it won't be. So like the next video that I'm doing is gonna be like 20 times more ambitious with custom worlds. And I'm really excited about it.
Good. Do you have the idea already? Is there a teaser that you could give, or are you taking a break? Okay.
No. Oh, no. I'm working full time on it now. I'm prepping the next video for my Twitch debut. So it's going to be a music video to debut the new outfit and Starheart's live stream debut.
How exciting. Although that's a great place to end on. Stay tuned for Starheart's further reveals. So excited. Thank you so much for joining us on stage and for premiering the film, the music video, I should say.
Thank you so much.
At the festival. We're really happy to have you in competition in the Best Music Video VR category. Give it up for Starheart and for Nixia and the team behind I still love you. I still love you, Starheart.
Aw, still love you, Joe. Thank you, everybody. Yeah.
Well
Yes, Starheart.
Thank you, thank you.
Good job.
Oh, that was muted. Thank you, I still love you, team. I love that the stage is so full of positivity today. It's making me so happy. Now we're going to move swiftly on to our final music video of today, which is directed by a filmmaker who was actually in competition in Best Short Film category last year. We're really excited to be welcoming back in the Best Music Video category this year. This next video is incredibly stunning, and there is a lot to talk about, but I don't want to spoil anything. This is a video that is also a premiere at the festival, so thank you so much for giving us the privilege to premiere this incredible piece of work. I can't wait for our audience in Instance and our viewers to see this for the first time. I hope you enjoy like crazy.
Let's go. Right. Okay.
Baby, come and follow me. There's not a bad thing here tonight. Save your reasons all for later. Stay with me a little while. Watch me go. I'll sink down all alone. Away, where am I? Darkest clouding of my eyes. I can hear the voices listening, don't know who they are. Trying to take the pressure off and reaching for the stars. Tell me, will I find myself again?
I'm having some stuttering, so hopefully I stay with you. It's probably because of the incredible explosions that video presented. Just exploded my system. That was the incredible video, Like Crazy. I want to have one more round of applause for Like Crazy as we welcome to the stage the director, Ariel Emerald, and the performers, if they're here with us today. Please come and join me for a Q&A. There is so much to talk about in this video.
I'll come up too.
Yes, please, everyone, come join us.
Wish on the couch.
I feel like we're ending today's... Might be a little laggy, but I'm okay. We're ending today's screening with explosions, and I love that. Thank you all for joining us on stage. Oh, there's more, please. The whole team.
Just all the same.
We have enough space on the sofa, on the couch, but we make do. Thank you, Ariel.
Quite a few people to make this happen, for sure.
Yeah, I'm not surprised. There's one scene in particular which I'm sure everyone is dying to talk about, and we're going to talk about the spaceships. But I want to talk about some other things first. But I want to say thank you, Ariel, for coming back to the festival and for sharing your new piece of work. It's really nice to have you back.
Thanks for having me.
And to start with, I know that you and Johnny have been actually wanting to collaborate for a long time. And I was so excited when I got to see this project, as it felt like the collaboration had really come together in such a fruitful and thrilling way. So I'd love for you just to start with talking through the origin story of your collaboration and also how the song formed with Lydian melody as well.
Absolutely. I'm sure Johnny can provide more input on the song and whatnot, but I'll say that Johnny approached me very shortly after the release of my last project, Ulterior Motives, and I'd for a while been paying attention to Johnny from a distance, being like, just he seems like a really cool person and all that, and I guess Johnny was paying attention to my work as well, and after I put out that film, he approached me and talked about doing a music video for a completely different song, which unfortunately didn't pan out at that time for a number of different reasons. But around the start of the year, Johnny said he had a new song, sent it to me, and we talked about doing a new music video for this one. And it worked out that the Raindance schedule ended up getting moved up by a few months, so we decided to make it a goal to shoot for the Raindance entrance for this music video, and that I think gave us the kick in the butt that we needed to get this thing done. So and then Johnny, sure you might have more to say about that and maybe about the song and stuff.
Yeah, so like really briefly on the song and the collaboration with Lydian Melody, who's an amazing artist as well. So we collaborated last year on another song, a cover of a Ronnie James Dio tune, Rainbow in the Dark, and that was the original song that I approached Ariel about. But then we also had Like Crazy in production at the time, and I sent a demo of that over to Ariel and was like, well, what about this instead? What do you think of this? And just everything just kind of fit, and there were so many ideas flowing from it, and we just started building that up from there, and it just became the project that you saw. And yeah, it really kind of snowballed into this big thing from its original concept, and it's just amazing.
Great. Thank you for sharing. I'm really excited to talk more about how big the world of the video feels. That's something that like really strikes me whenever I see it, and the first time I saw it, certainly. But you'll have to forgive me. We should introduce the other people that are on the couch with you, your team. I know, Ariel, you're director, Johnny, actor and performer, but I would love for the rest of the team to introduce themselves and their roles on the film, on the music video as well.
Absolutely.
Okay, well, hello everyone. I'm Crispy Wisp. I am the stunt choreographer for this film. I primarily worked in that space fight scene you just saw, and that was exciting. I've been doing fight choreography since 2021 in VR.
Great. Gab, perhaps next?
Sure. Hi, I'm Gab. I was brought on this project by Ariel to help flesh out the story and to be an extra camera. But like throughout the process, it turned out it also kind of turned out I was doing a lot of roles akin to one of the first AD, so I ended up taking on that title as well. So yeah.
Thank you. And Mojo?
Hello, I'm Mojo. I'm also one of the camera people brought on to this project.
Excellent. Jersey Bear?
Hi everybody. Yeah, I'm Gerseyville. I'm also one of the camera operators for Like Crazy, and yeah, it's for the quality, the scale, the ambition. It's been a really cool experience.
And hi, my name is Quincer. I was one of the additional cinematographers brought on for this project to help film the space fight scene. And it was really cool to see how it panned out, and it became this very cool project that Ariel brought us all onto. So thanks for the opportunity.
Wonderful. Thank you. And round of applause for the entire team. And I'm sure there's more team members who also, like Lydian Melody, who's not here today. So it seems like a very large team. But to talk about the scale of the world and how large the world feels of the video, I love how it feels like a timeless Blade Runner-esque landscape that you've crafted. And I'm really curious if the landscape of the video, the worlds and the art direction of the space was something that you conceptualized very early on, Ariel, or if the production design was something that you and Johnny kind of came together on, or Lydian also. Was it very collaborative, or was that something you knew you wanted to bring to the table with your new project?
Well, that's a very good question. So Johnny gave me full control over the story and the concept of the video, and that was the most challenging part of the video, in my opinion, was actually conceptualizing it and coming up with what the story of this video should actually be and what should actually happen in it. Because the song, the lyrics are so introspective and deeply innately emotional, and they tie into the singer's personal story, perhaps something to do with a relationship. I feel a sense of a relationship going on in the song, but the instrumentals are so intense and energetic and powerful, and so I felt trying to find the connection between those two energies and put them into a visual concept. So I liked the idea of doing a sci-fi universe, and I pretty early on came up with the idea of doing the space dogfight sequence because I felt that would be a fun challenge to really try to throw everything at. There was another version of this story where they were like a VR couple that were seeing each other IRL, so there would be a version of their IRL avatars, and then they would do sci-fi stuff when they were in VR. But I kind of scrapped that version, and I ended up going full sci-fi, taking a lot of inspiration from classic sci-fi movies like Blade Runner, Star Wars, Alien, other action movies and stuff from that time period. The Shining, Kubrick, also some influences, just a lot of cinematic influences that I was thinking about while I was making this. Top Gun was huge, obviously. I watched Top Gun and Top Gun Maverick as research points for this video for designing the space dogfight sequence and all that. And I feel like there's a lot of energy, kind of Maverick energy, kind of in the main character of this video a little bit as well. Like a little bit of Maverick, a little bit of Han Solo in this character. But yeah, I think I've never really experimented with this whole thing of building a world entirely out of separate, disconnected VRChat worlds and building a universe out of that. And I think that was a really unique challenge. We were lucky to be able to encounter the world creator BT. He has a series of different worlds that all use the same spaceships, and they all are fully functional spaceships, and they're all relatively high quality worlds. So we were able to use those worlds and connect a few of those worlds together to sort of tell a story across multiple worlds with the spaceships like that. And the rest of it was fleshing it out with different worlds that give a sci-fi vibe and stuff like that. And then there's also, there's the sense that you have the more sci-fi heavy scenes in the city, but then you also have other scenes that are more, I feel that, like you said, there's a bit of a timeless quality to it, but I feel that in the sense you have, it doesn't necessarily have to be 100% true to life because it's a music video, but in the sort of the modern day or the present sequences, you'll see much more cyberpunky type of like sci-fi heavy visuals and worlds. And then in sort of the flashback sequences in this video, you might see worlds that are more oriented towards like less cyber, more organic type of places, like when they have the trip to the woods and all of that and stuff like that. Which I think helps separate those parts of the story characteristically. But yeah, I think building a sci-fi universe in a matter of a few minutes with about 26 VRChat worlds was a new challenge for me, and I think that was pretty exciting and interesting to be able to do. And I loved choosing really high quality worlds to use in the project.
Yeah, it's no small feat, and it's something that I immediately wanted to recognize. So I'm really glad that you could speak on that. The natural areas and the woods and the car ride just have like a natural nostalgia to them, which really separates it from the rest. And I really love that, especially as like someone who really likes warm color grading and a very kind of cozy, naturalistic environment. So I immediately enjoyed that. I'd like to talk more about performances. Jonny, I know that you performed the song, and acting is probably something that you're very used to doing, but I'm curious, in this project, how did you bring the music and the lyrics into a character? Was there a certain meaning there, and how did you get yourself into the role? And Ariel, you're also welcome to talk about the direction of that too, if you want to, but yeah, I'd love to hear from you, Jonny.
Yeah, well, I haven't done a ton of body acting in VRChat, but I do have an extensive acting background and training background in acting. And so just working collaboratively with Ariel and just the direction, it was challenging at times. There was one particular scene where we were shooting with extras, and I remember it was just literally just me walking through the street, but Ariel gave me this big direction and everything, and I spent like 10-15 minutes rehearsing that, just a walk, something as simple as a walk, but you have to put like emotion and you have to translate that. And I joked to her and said, I'm just like, you're bringing up a bit of my acting class trauma right now, because it's just like, how do you take a walk and translate emotion into it? But like, I love that challenge, and that's I think very uniquely a VRChat thing, because you're just wearing trackers and you have to kind of work collaboratively with the IK to get a performance that you want as an actor. And it can definitely be challenging at times, because how do you take 6 points of tracking and then translate that into, an actor's plight or their emotion of sadness or discovery, or whatever may be called upon to show in the film. And I love that there are so many different moments where you can just see those different range of emotions just in movement, because I don't have facial tracking. Hopefully soon, it's on my wish list. But yeah, so it's really your expressionless a lot of times, or have canned expressions. So how do you translate that in body movement? It can be a really big challenge.
Right. Yeah, you nailed it. The performances are stellar, I feel. Ariel, did you want to add anything on that note? Just in terms of
I'll just say that both Jonny and Melody were extremely game to, take this project. I'm sure probably much further past the level of ambition that they ever expected it to have, and work with me to keep coming back and doing a bunch of different things following my sort of direction for the story. And both of them were very wonderful to work with, and I mean, I just love working. I mean, that's my favorite part of doing this, really, is just working with actors and other people that are just super collaborative and really wonderful to work with. And I got that experience from both of my leads in this project.
Good. That's so good to hear. Now I'm going to ask my next question quite bluntly. How on earth did you achieve the space battle, the dogfight? It's incredible to watch, and I know from my experience filmmaking, and I'm sure many people would agree, that was a challenge, and there must have been a lot of people filming and assisting in that moment to achieve it. So I'd love to perhaps we could start with the choreography, or I don't even know where to start with that question, but tell me how you achieved the dogfight. Walk me through it.
Well, I will say that when I first had this idea, I had no idea how I was going to do it, and it was scary. And that's the kind of thing that it's hard, it's scary, I want to do it, let's do it. And so I had that in my mind, but I never really had a good sense of how I was actually going to achieve it. And I still didn't until about a month before we needed to have it done. And it was around that time that, completely coincidentally for other reasons, I ended up meeting Crispy and sat down and we were talking about choreography. And perhaps you'd like to take it from there.
Okay, sure. So as Ariel mentioned, she approached me 1 month prior to the time this was meant to be due, and she just came to me asking for advice, and I'm like, okay, so what are you trying to do? And she said, oh, I'm trying to do a space battle. And I'm like, what's the deadline? She's like, 1 month. And I'm like, you're insane. I'm like, you got to take into account like technical difficulties and planning, and unlike ground fighting with choreography, like you're not in full control of every single movement. You have to essentially know how to fly the ship. And I'm not gonna lie, I'd never done anything like this before either, and I don't know what the heck came over me. I was like, you know what, heck, I'm gonna help you do it. And I'm like, oh, I'm just gonna throw myself in the deep end. It's a challenge for me as well. Going on to actually doing the choreography, Ariel presented me the base idea of what she wanted to do. And I said, okay, well, what's the inspiration? What is the style you're looking for? And she just said Top Gun Maverick. And I'm like, I'm with you. Because I love that film. So like, okay, cool, no problem. So Ariel and I met up in the world. We took a look at it. There was quite a lot of issues with the world. There was environmental issues. It was originally created where there's like a survival aspect. So if you're out in space, you'll freeze and die. So that's not great. Right. So we, as Ariel mentioned, we had to reach out to the world creator and make many adjustments, and that affect the performance of the ships flying. And it actually got pretty crazy, but Ariel managed to work closely with BT and somehow pull that off to fix that in time. And essentially just came down to me in spare time, just going into the world, listening to the song because I had the full track, and just mixing that with what can I use in the world and the environment. Challenges we faced, though, however, with things like, for example, the world is huge and space is big. Now, trying to get the camera, like the flight to go past the cameras at the correct angles, at the correct timings, that was a bit of a challenge. So I said, Ariel, we need a marker system. We need to have markers that we can place and waypoints where they're not going to show up on camera, which, again, we had to reach out to the world creator to do that. And we're able to pick up and place the markers in the world. And essentially it just came down to, when it came to my side, I just came down to filling in, like putting meat on the bare bones of the base idea that Ariel had. And the other challenge was, I'm so grateful that Johnny knows how to fly. He's very good. So I didn't have to worry about.
Yeah, we got quite lucky,
Yeah.
Because Johnny's a test pilot's enthusiast, and Crispy happens to have a thing for flight simulators. So we did get quite a bit lucky in terms of having two easily accessible, skilled pilots involved. So.
The other half of the issue is always with choreography is latency. So I don't know if you noticed, but in a couple of those shots, we're flying incredibly close. And we had to do that for the camera work. I mean, realistically, you wouldn't be that close, but we had to fly really tight in formation, flying around the ship together. And combating latency at the same time was really tough. So we just took a whole bunch of B-roll footage as well, just in case, to fill it out, and it ended up working out really well. We used quite a bit of that as well, I believe. What the last part I was going to mention?
It was Crispy's idea that he said something to me that should have been obvious from the start, which is that I needed more camera people. So I went scorched earth, and I just sent the message out to all the best camera people that I knew, and I got 6 additional camera people aside from myself and Gab to come on board and help out with this project, including the wonderful folks you see here: Gurzy, Quinn, Mojo, Gummy Dot, and also Zuki. And is that it? Did I forget anyone? I don't think I forgot anyone. But yes. So we had overall myself 7 cinematographers, Johnny and Crispy, all filming these scenes together, and we did that across 4 weekends, and it was just pure adrenaline, because we're doing it essentially for real. Like it's not real, we're in virtual reality, but we are essentially flying these ships around, riding on the back with cameras and doing it for real. And like, which is how they just shot Top Gun Maverick, which is why I studied that film, because they shot 90% of the dogfighting in that movie for real, using real camera angles and the different types of camera tricks that they did, a lot of which involved cockpit shots and like attaching cameras to the body of the plane. We have a little bit more flexibility in some ways, because we can actually just sit on the ship while people are flying it. So a couple lucky daredevils got to sit on the ships while they're flying these complicated maneuvers and film directly. And of course, I also had relatively high standards in terms of 4K quality and HDR recording. So everybody's recording to these really high quality footage of just this absolutely gonzo stuff that we were doing. And I ended up with like 1.5 terabytes of incredible footage of spaceships flying around and shooting each other, of which I probably had like 12 hours of footage of spaceships flying around, and I needed to get that down into about 1 minute and 10 seconds of actual screen time. So there's a lot of amazing shots that I didn't get to use, but it was the most fun thing I think I've ever done in my life, and I'm sure everybody else had a lot of fun doing that as well, because we were all just laughing, joking, getting super excited. Everybody was like cheering whenever we got a cool shot. You know, it was the best experience to be a part of that, because we just had such a good time together as a crew doing that, and I'm so happy with how it came out. I don't think it could have been better with the resources that we had available to us. I think it came out the best that it could possibly be.
Yeah, one could say what you managed to pull off is like crazy.
It is quite crazy. Very aptly named video here. Yeah.
I'd love to hear from the camera operators in that moment as well. Could you paint a picture of what it was like on your end, operating the cameras? Start with you, Gab?
I don't know. I'll let Gurzy start.
Sure. Right on, yeah. So like when it came to being able to operate cameras exclusively, most specifically in the space battle scene, I was handling just a small handful of shots here and there, but being able to really figure out just kind of fine tuning the exact drone settings that we're using in order to match the kind of look that we're going for is. It was a challenge, and especially when it came to one of the final moments where the ship blows up, and being able to coordinate timing and things like that, making sure that the camera is at a proper enough distance before Johnny comes in and shoots.
The simplest shot is a lot of takes.
Yes.
Oh my
God. Target.
Shout out to Gurzy for getting the really epic shot with where Johnny comes in, blows up poor Crispy here, and then flies through the wreckage towards the planet. That was a Gurzy bow joint, that particular shot, and it came out spectacular.
No one was harmed in the making of this dogfight.
I mean, emotionally,
he had to get me back. He had to get me back. I shot him a few times in the training and.
But overall, it was a really nice experience, and I'm really thankful for the opportunity.
You
Gamble, Quinster, Mojo, Yeah.
Yeah, actually, something that was actually really different for me when doing this. Oh, I'm sorry, Gab. When we were filming, when we were filming the majority of the dogfight scene, I had to actually max out my drone speed for the first time ever because of how fast they were going. They were going full speed, around these massive asteroids, and the world is huge. Like, it takes a long time to get places. Our markers were actually set in kilometers to say they're like 6 kilometers away, so it was really big. But when we got the shots right, and after a few different takes, and we got to review the footage, we were blasted away by how good it looked. So we were really super, highly motivated to continue going and get these shots and overall finish up the entire project, which was super cool. And a lot of us had fun. We all had a bunch of laughs in between all of it. So, like Jersey said, I can't thank Ariel enough for bringing a lot of us onto this project, and we were super happy to help out.
Yeah, it was just a really great environment to work on for those weekends. It was a really great environment to work on. We were all cozied up in a call together. We were all getting all these really cool shots, and then as soon as the take was over, some people were like, "Yo, this is good! Check this out!" and just streams to everybody, and everyone's just freaking out.
Yes,
it's some of the most fun I've had shooting, and I hope I can do something like this again with this big of a crew, because it's great to work with these folks. It is.
Yeah, it was really different being brought on because I was on Crispy's ship for the majority of the shooting. So, yeah, it was pretty cool to get a different perspective on it because I've always done drone stuff in the Wraith community. So it was really, really different, and I learned quite a lot when it comes to viewing a different perspective on filming stuff here.
It's like an action cinematographer's dream, I think, to get together and do something like this, and and that, like I was saying to Ari as well, it's a compliment to you, Ariel, and fostering that environment and just having fun and really leaning into it and having a blast, literally. In space. Now would be a great time to welcome audience questions. I feel if anyone has any questions for crazy, any crazy questions. They don't have to be crazy. Fostolf?
Hello, I'm gonna ask about worlds again. What went into the process of selecting which worlds for which shot, and did you have an idea in mind and go scouting for worlds, or do you already knew the worlds and thought they would fit in well, or how did that work?
I think it was a combination of both. In a lot of cases, I knew what worlds I would have available to shoot in, or I knew about worlds that I had in mind that I could shoot in. And in other cases, I had a scene that was complicated and I didn't know how I was going to film it. So I had to go out and actually find worlds that would fit. And a lot of times I saw some cool world on Twitter or whatever, and instantly I'm just like, oh, I got to film the scene there. I got to do the scene there. And we had a couple world developers that were willing to make changes to their worlds for us. The sort of apartment world where Johnny is staring up at the screen where he sees Melody on a video call. That screen wasn't originally a video player, but the world creator was able to make that adjustment for us. And then there's one other world where the creator added a lighting toggle, and then of course there's BT, who created this sort of offshoot version of his spaceship world for us to film in. But aside from that, yes, I did a lot of digging for worlds, but I also used some worlds that I already knew about. But in general, I think this was story first, world second. I wrote the story, I had the story in mind, and then I found the worlds that I could film there.
Okay, so to make doubly sure I understood what you said earlier, did you notice some worlds on Twitter and they just seeing them made you incorporate them into scenes because you like them?
It was more like I would see it. Yeah, well, that for sure. I saw a world on Twitter. I'm like, wow, that's cool. I think I can figure out how to use this for something. Or it was like, oh, that world looks cool. This would probably fit the scene that I already have in mind. That kind of thing.
Okay. Thank you. I do not thank you, however, for the amount of worlds that we added to my ever-growing list of worlds to visit.
Yes.
Well, yeah, good work. Thank you anyway.
We're ruining Fastolf's list today with these screenings. It's just, God, you shouldn't come to any more screenings, Fastolf. You're going to be in VR forever.
actually visit half of my list.
Good luck. And kind of a follow-up to that, I did notice that you can, if the audience want to go fly these spaceships and understand
Absolutely.
what you managed to achieve, can we visit the dogfight world?
Yes, the dogfight world is public. It's called Like Crazy, named after our video, and you can go and fly these spaceships, and you can see also the tools that we use to film. There's the markers that were Crispy's idea to be placed around, and you can go there and you can dogfight your friends and fly around the spaceship and all that. And it's a pretty visually impressive world as well. I mean, it should be great for taking photos, or who knows, maybe somebody else will make some kind of video in there or something. I don't know, but it's the world's public. It's BT's world. It's his right to do with it as he chooses.
Add it to your lists. Is there any more questions from our audience? Starheart, yeah, please come join us.
Hey, I have a really quick question about editing. So, there's so much happening, right? And so, what was the idea for how you paste this all of this footage, like your 1.5 terabytes of footage, into the song?
I based it around different beats of the song and different moments of the song and the points, because I think this is a song where the emotional character is constantly evolving and changing throughout the song, and there's moments of transitional points where the sort of emotional moment of the song changes to a different sort of emotion, and these are the sort of points that I swung things around. So I like even if you just watch the space battle scene, like at the start of the space battle scene, there's this epic guitar riff, which is super intense, but there's no lyrics, and it's just a big solo. And you can see there's a big montage with the flashing of like the intro to the space battle where he's flying towards Earth. And then also there's these flashes of him being haunted by this like holographic perception of Melody's character. And then right at the exact moment where the like lyrics come in is like bang, that's when it cuts out of the montage and the ship comes flying in, zooming in, and then suddenly bang, we're in the space battle. And as the space battle goes on, the first chorus ends and then the drums, the cymbals start coming in. That's when you see Melody, her hologram version as the pilot. And I base the editing kind of around beats of the song like that, and when those moments happen. And then like later on when Johnny comes in and shoots the enemy ship and blows it up, that happens right at the exact moment before the next guitar solo. And
Awesome.
Yeah,
I gotta rewatch to catch all those
to.
details. I'm excited to see it again.
Yeah.
I must say that the cut on the explosion and the sound of Melody's guitar is so on point. The editing really hits there, and it's very well done. It was worth getting blown up, Crispy Wisp. It really was.
Good cause.
Any more questions from the audience? Yeah, we start with Belumudo. Please come all the way up to the stage.
Yeah, come onto the stage so your voice will be amplified.
Oh yeah, can you hear me?
Yes,
we can hear you now.
Oh great. Ariel, this is just really good, and I was lucky enough to kind of witness when the dogfight scene was happening, and it just turns out really great. So I have this question for you that basically, as also you mentioned how the dogfight scene kind of happened like 1 month before deadline, and you had this vision. And then almost didn't happen if you haven't met Crispy, if maybe Johnny doesn't know how to fly, how to be a pilot and stuff. So how do you maybe balance this director vision and problem solving? So what if you really want something to happen, but eventually it turns out it's really hard to achieve in that amount of time you're given?
May I
That's
repeat
a very
the question?
good question.
Just in case,
go ahead and repeat the question.
The question is, as Crispy Wisp, and you only really had a month to achieve the dogfight scene, what were the challenges that came with the time crunch, and how did you manage to pull it off within that time frame?
Yeah, you might have some else to say about this as well, but I think the key thing there is understanding the scale that you have, that you're able to go for within that time period, and not overshooting that goal. You know, I made it very clear to Crispy that I wanted to do something that was within a reasonable level of ambition that we would be able to get done first and foremost, and then, you know, any kind of embellishment of that would be dependent on time. But we ended up creating more or less exactly what I hoped we would be able to create within that time period. There's nothing that I really wanted to be in there that wasn't actually in there. And on top of that, I would say that Crispy helped me flesh out the in-between parts of that even more. And it helps me have the ideas to add in new things that I didn't even have originally planned that increase the overall value of that scene. And but yeah, I think understanding what's feasible and shooting for that primarily is how you manage that kind of a time limit. And you might have something more to say about that.
Yeah, so obviously due to the tight time schedule, I had to kind of cut quite a few corners as to how I'd like to set out a choreography, and had to kind of address problems on the fly. Like, for example, I didn't even realize we should probably have markers in the world. And when we first started flying, I was like, okay, this is a problem. We're not getting good shots. Everything's too far away. So we pulled off quite a few miracles, I think, during this time. But it all came down to like everyone's willingness to be adaptive. And I am so grateful to everyone for this choreography, because I was very limited on when I was available, and my time zone is awful. So everyone was willing to work around my schedule, and that blew me away. But when I had my free time, when other people weren't available, I threw myself into the world. And I would also try to like plan for potential issues and foreseeable problems that I could find. And I would essentially, my main focus was to try to flesh it out, make it as simple as possible, like keep the maneuvers simple, and keep the filming practice simple. So it would make Ariel's job and Jonny a lot more easier than what it might have been, just because simplicity was the key to beat the time that we had, but still make it epic. So we just worked with what we had.
It's also worth noting that I knew from the start that this was only going to take up about a minute of the actual video, and so there's only so much you can do within a minute of screen time. So that also helped us keep it within the reins. Keep it. You know,
don't go too
far. Keep it limited. Yeah. Great question. Thank you.
Thank you. Can I ask another one?
We have time for one more, so
I think Jamie.
give it to just
Jamie really wants to ask a question.
But thank you, Bermudo.
Hello. First of all, very good job, everyone. I wanted to ask a question about sort of editing and filmic choice. You had mentioned earlier that there were a number of films that gave you inspiration. Blade Runner and Star Wars were two that I noticed before you even mentioned them. And so, although those films are futuristic, they are noticeably, at least the original ones, they're noticeably like older now. And I had noticed that throughout the music video, you use a sort of film grain over the video, and I was wondering if that was like a deliberate choice to sort of give it that sort of look, and if not, then why did you make that artistic choice?
That's an interesting question. I like using film grain because it adds texture to the image, because already filming in VRChat, things look pretty fake, and it looks video gamey, and I try everything in my power to like eliminate the video gaminess of the footage that I film in VRChat. And one of the techniques that I have available to me is using film grain, but it's quite less in terms of film emulation than I've done in the past. For example, my film Ulterior Motives had an extensive anamorphic simulation that I built from the ground up myself in DaVinci Resolve, as well as a pretty complex 35mm film emulation with subtractive color processing and all that stuff. I didn't do most of that for this project because I wanted to have the mindset that I could make it look cinematic through just color. And if I could achieve that, then that proved to me that I'm not just relying on the filmic color grade in order to achieve a cinematic quality. So I'm satisfied with my ability to have achieved a cinematic look on this with just color, I think. I'm really discovering my passion as a colorist as I continue to work on these films. And I did add the film grain to add a little bit more texture into it. I just liked the way that it looks, but if it's much reduced from my other projects. And I also want to note that I use film grain to differentiate different parts of the story. So the flashback scenes that you see in this, I don't know how clear it is to the uninformed observer that they are flashbacks, but I tried to make that clear by having a warmer color grade as well as like a 16 millimeter film look to them with a more heavy film emulation and grade in order to capture that. I guess actually to a few more points of inspiration, a film called High Life by Claire Denis, which is a film set in space that has a bunch of characters isolated on a spaceship, but there's flashbacks to the story that they had when they were on Earth, which are shot I believe that the scenes in space are filmed digitally, and the scenes that are filmed on Earth are filmed on 16 millimeter film. So that was another inspiration point for those particular scenes, and it helps to differentiate things. There's also like a much more clear, crystal clear digital sort of look that I tried to do for the part where you see Melody's character performing in a in-universe music video and stuff like that. And I tried to differentiate things in the story that way to keep things visually clear so that people would understand the story better.
Oh, wow. That was so much more in depth. Thank you for explaining that. That was great. You did an amazing job. Thank you so much.
Great question. You get Ariel talking about color grading. That's a subject. We talked a lot about color grading last year. And it's something that you're very talented at in post. So yeah, excellent question. I'm glad
I do try.
We've been on Ariel and I've been on calls together, and she's been like, "Look at my power grade right now. Look at my power grade."
It's like painting to me. Because that's where I get to see the final. That's where I get to see the final image, and I really get to paint and see it like the true movie sort of shine out of the footage that I've created.
And you do a wonderful job at it.
Yeah, we've certainly seen more and more VRChat filmmakers who are, using VRChat as a production tool, color grading their work. And I think that it really elevates the work to become less, video gamey, but it takes it outside of the platform constraints a little bit and just creates more control, more creativity, and more expression. So yeah, it's something we've seen in all the videos that we've shown today, and pretty much the whole selection. I love that color grading has become very known and used widely in the community now. If you're making a film in VRChat, consider it. And talk to Ariel about it, because
talk to me about it.
There's a lot of knowledge there. Well, that's all the time we have for Like Crazy. Thank you so much for participating in this Q&A. We've loved hearing more about it. One more applause for Ariel and the Like Crazy team. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Now I'm going to have to ask you to exit stage, and I'll wrap our event. That concludes our screening.
Kicking us out.
We could talk about color grading all day. I could. Thank you so much, Like Crazy team, once again. And thank you all for joining us for the event today. That concludes our Raindance Immersive 2024 screenings of the music videos. If you want to watch them again, they will be available on the Raindance Immersive website, raindanceimmersive.com. Please go there and you can find them and see them again and look at all the little details that you may have missed. Before I close the show, I want to say a huge thank you again to Fangs and Max, who have been handling our stream and recording today's event. Thank you so much. Thank you to the festival team, Fangs, Troppy Ginger, Maria Raku, and Joe Lee. I wouldn't be here without all of you incredible people. And also a big thank you to Lucy Liu, who created this beautiful world that we're in today. It's been such a pleasure curating this work for the festival again, and thank you to all the filmmakers, especially those premiering work and making it for the festival, for delivering it and all your efforts on making it. We're so grateful. And that concludes our show. Thank you everyone for coming. We have more screenings tomorrow for the short films. So check out the short films tomorrow. Now, I'd love to get some photography of our filmmakers, the Carpe Diem team. I still love you and like crazy, so please stick around. But perhaps we can start with a group photo, just so we have everyone in it in case anyone needs to drop off quickly. So let's all go down to the step and repeat, which is at spawn, so it might be easier for everyone to respawn. And let's take a group photo. Oh, I accidentally just turned the lights off. I apologize, but you need to leave, so. That's it, the lights are off.
There's one way to take us out.
Like, what the fuck? Oh shit, that's what I say. Not for once. You being gone?
Thank you so much, fans.
I'm so glad you liked it.
Yeah, you saw it, right? Okay, good. Hey, watch it. Actually,
Oh, it's big and you're in small. Right, I'll get me smaller.
Film after this.
Annoying, I keep running around in public.
You're good. Kick it. Kick it. You just stand right here in front of us.
I don't want to block anyone.
No, you're good. Oh my god, you're in my way.
Oh no. This is the worst outcome.